Welcome to Agoracom Small Cap Breaking News, your daily go-to source for the best small cap headlines for over 65 million investors since 2007. Beyond the standard headlines today, we're really digging into the most compelling financial reports and, crucial drilling results from the small cap world. Our mission, as always, is to sift through that daily noise and pinpoint what truly moves the needle for investors like you.
And that's precisely our aim for this deep dive. We want to extract those, vital nuggets of knowledge from today's breaking news, giving you a real shortcut to being well-informed on some potentially high-impact developments in the market. We're not just reading press releases, we're focusing on the core results, the insights that truly matter for anyone looking to do their own deeper research, and maybe identify some opportunities.
Okay, kicking off our dive into today's small cap headlines then, we have a truly fascinating development in the biotech and consumer wellness space, Quantum BioPharma, trading under QNTM on NASDAQ and the CSE. They've made a pretty significant announcement regarding their spin-out Unbuzzd Wellness. Okay, let's unpack this. There's quite a bit here.
Absolutely. So Unbuzzd Wellness Inc., the company behind that Unbuzzd alcohol recovery drink.
Right, the recovery beverage.
Exactly. They've initiated a $5 million Regulation D capital raise.
Okay, Reg D. So that's aimed at accredited investors, right?
Precisely. It's often, faster and maybe less complex in terms of public disclosure as a full IPO. This effort is being supported by MZ Digital and Dealmaker.
Got it.
But what's particularly, I think, insightful here is Quantum BioPharma's continued connection, QNTM.
Ah, yes, the original company. How connected are they still?
They retain a substantial piece, 20.11% ownership in Unbuzzd Wellness. That was as of March 31st, 2025.
20%. Okay, significant.
And there's a big royalty agreement in place, too.
Oh, really? What does that look like?
Quantum gets 7% of Unbuzzd day sales.
7%?
Until the cumulative payments hit $250 million. After that, it adjusts down to 3%, but crucially, in perpetuity.
Wow. So that's potentially a very long-term revenue stream.
Exactly. It's definitely not just a simple spinoff. It's a long-term potential revenue pipeline for Quantum.
So that financial link is compelling, but let's talk product. What about the science behind Unbuzzd? Are these clinical trial results solid?
The clinical data is frankly very compelling. The trials showed it reduced blood alcohol concentration over 40% faster within just 30 minutes.
40% faster compared to placebo?
Compared to placebo, yes. That's a significant speed. It also showed improved alertness and cognitive performance, again within 30 minutes.
Crucial for how people would actually use it.
Right, and beyond that, it significantly reduced perceived impairment and hangover symptoms. Participants reported a really quite remarkable 67% reduction in headache severity at the 4-hour mark.
67% reduction.
Yeah, these aren't just, marketing claims. These are clinically proven results.
That clinical proof sounds like a massive differentiator. But the real question for investors, I suppose, is scalability, market penetration. How effectively can this $5 million raise translate into actual market share, sustained sales growth, especially, competing out there? What's the biggest hurdle on the commercial side, do you think, beyond the lab?
That's precisely the challenge now. This capital infusion, as CEO John Duffy put it, will help us raise the necessary capital to support our expansion plans and bring Unbuzzd to more consumers.
Makes sense.
And Jerry David, he's board co-chair, former CEO of Celsius Holdings, actually.
Oh, interesting background.
Yes. He noted it also supports a path toward a possible IPO down the line. The clinical results are phenomenal, but the insight here is execution. Can they effectively convert that science into brand recognition and to, effective distribution?
In a very competitive market.
Extremely competitive consumer wellness market. It really comes down to marketing, supply chain, retail strategy now. Very different challenges from running clinical trials.
It sounds like they've got the science part down. Now it's about that sales and marketing muscle. A really dynamic sector to watch for sure. Okay, moving from wellness to the digital backbone of our economy. HIVE Digital Technologies, stock symbols HIVE on the TSXV, NASDAQ, and the FSE. They're presenting a really fascinating case study on navigating crypto and AI. They just dropped their full-year financials for fiscal 2025.
Yeah, and despite what was, a challenging year for many Bitcoin miners, HIVE reported strong performance. They brought in $115.3 million in total revenue.
$115 million.
And a solid $56.2 million in adjusted EBITDA, which for listeners is a key metric showing operational profitability, stripping out financing and accounting stuff.
Right, a clearer picture of operations.
Exactly. What truly stands out, I think, is their dual growth engine strategy. Bitcoin mining capacity expanded 40%.
40% growth there.
Yeah, from 4.5 exahashes per second up to 6.3. An exahash is just a huge measure of computing power. They mined 1,414 Bitcoin in the fiscal year.
Okay.
But perhaps even more impressively, their HPC high-performance computing cloud revenue tripled year over year.
Tripled. Wow. That's their AI GPU business.
It's AI side, yeah. It had $10.1 million.
Tripling HPC revenue in a year alongside the Bitcoin mining.
Hmm.
That's quite something. What's the strategic vision there? It seems like a smart diversification.
Absolutely. And strategically, at year-end, they held a significant asset base, too. 2,201 Bitcoin,
Okay.
valued at $181.1 million at the time. They also made a big move, adding 300 megawatts of hydropowered capacity down in Paraguay.
Hydropower, so green energy focus.
Yes, setting the stage for substantial future expansion with green energy. The CEO, Aidan Killick, really emphasized the rapid progress since year-end, commissioning 100 megawatts in Paraguay ahead of schedule, nearly doubling their hash rate already to 11.5 exahashes per second.
Doubling again, almost.
And their ambitious target is 25 exahashes per second by the end of calendar 2025.
25. That's a huge leap.
It is. And co-founder Frank Holmes reinforced their focus. Disciplined, high-return growth powered by green energy. It showcases a clear path for sustainable long-term value, really balancing that Bitcoin volatility with the just explosive demand for AI compute.
So strong focus on green energy, aggressive expansion. What are the main hurdles HIVE needs to clear to hit that 25 exahash target, considering, the market dynamics for miners?
Well, the primary challenges are always going to be Bitcoin, price volatility, and network difficulty. Those constantly impact mining profit
Sure,
power.
the external factors.
Exactly. But by aggressively expanding their green-powered facilities, and critically, by diversifying revenue through that growing HPC cloud business, HIVE is actively trying to mitigate those risks. Their strategy seems clear. Build a resilient, diversified digital infrastructure company, not just a pure-play miner.
That's a really interesting model they're building. Okay, let's shift gears completely. Let's head to the mining sector. Kodiak Copper, symbol KDK on the TSXV, OTCQB, and FSE. They've made a, monumental announcement concerning their MPD copper-gold project in southern BC. This feels like a big step for them.
It is a very significant one. Kodiak has just released its initial mineral resource estimate, the MRE, for the MPD project. And MRE is, that critical step assessing the economic viability, detailing quantity and grade.
Right, the first official count, essentially.
Kind of, yeah. They're reporting indicated resources of 56.4 million tons, grading 0.42% copper equivalent, or CEQ, and then inferred resources of 240.7 million tons, grading at 0.33% copper equivalent.
Okay, 0.42% copper equivalent. And how does that grade stack up for this type of deposit?
Well, context is key. For a large-scale porphyry deposit like MPD, which gets mined in huge volumes, 0.42% QK can actually be quite robust, quite economic, especially when you factor in the gold credits. That copper equivalent just combines the value of copper and other metals like gold into one figure for comparison.
Okay, so the grade works at scale. And the tons, that translates to over 1 billion pounds of copper, right? That scale is hard to grasp. What does this initial MRE really mean for the project's future? What's next?
It translates to over 1.6 billion pounds of contained copper and over 1.2 million ounces of contained gold. That's combining both indicated and inferred categories.
Huge numbers.
They are. The president and CEO, Claudia Tornquist, calls it an important strategic milestone highlighting the considerable scale and potential. And the chairman, Chris Taylor, he believes MPD had the potential to become a major mine in British Columbia. This initial estimate is just the start.
Just the start, so there's more to come.
That's the key insight. All 4 reported zones, Gate, Ketchen, Man, and Dillard, remain open for further expansion, laterally and at depth. And importantly, drilling is active right now at 3 additional zones, West, Edit, and South.
Okay.
Which promises to add significantly to a full resource estimate they expect by year-end 2025. The potential for expansion is really central here.
So the current numbers are just a baseline, really, with more drilling planned to define the full extent. What are some of the maybe non-geological considerations Kodiak needs to navigate moving forward with something this big?
Well, beyond the obvious need for more drilling to define those zones fully, as with any major mining project, you've got environmental stewardship and continuous effective community engagement. Those are ongoing critical considerations. Building strong relationships with local stakeholders is, frankly, just as vital as the geology for a successful long-term project.
Makes sense. Okay, shifting focus, but sticking with gold for a bit. Next Gold Mining Corp. Trading as NEXG on the TSXV and NXGCF on the OTCQX, they're reporting some very promising infill drilling results from their Goldboro project over in Nova Scotia.
Indeed. This drill program, which is now complete, has consistently delivered high-grade gold zones. The aim was improving geological confidence for an updated feasibility study.
Right, firming up the numbers.
Exactly. They completed an impressive 26,854 meters across 141 drill holes.
Yeah.
Actually exceeded their initial targets because of operational efficiencies.
Good sign. What are the highlights?
Key intersections include a notable 3.58 grams per ton, gold over 18.3 meters.
Okay.
Which itself contained a very high-grade section, 59.40 grams per ton, over 0.6 meters.
Wow, nearly 2 ounces per ton in that short interval.
Yeah. Another impressive intercept was 2.79 grams per ton, gold over 19.7 meters, including 72.80 grams per ton, over half a meter.
Again, super high-grade kicker.
And for a real nugget, they hit an impressive 103.50 grams per ton, gold over 0.7 meters.
Over 100 grams per ton.
Yeah. To put that into perspective, anything over 5 grams is generally considered high grade. So these numbers are, well, exceptional.
Wow, 103.5 fusarium. That's the kind of intercept every gold investor dreams about, isn't it? What do these results mean for Goldboro moving forward, especially for its economics?
They're absolutely significant. The president CEO, Kevin Bullock, said he's very pleased to have completed this phase of infill drilling, which has shown early positive results. These results will form the basis of an updated mineral resource estimate expected in the second half of 2025. And that's critical for the planned feasibility study update. Strategically, validating those historic drill holes, twin drilling, and consistently expanding mineralization with such high grades, it significantly de-risks the project. It strengthens its economic profile as they move closer to that feasibility stage, gives investors much greater confidence in the resource.
So these results are really building the foundation for a robust feasibility study then. What are the next critical milestones for Next Gold to move this project forward?
The next key steps are getting the pending assay results back from the remaining holes.
Right.
And then the completion of that updated feasibility study. That study will integrate all this new data, determine the project's final economic viability, and the pathway to potential construction and operation. It's all about methodically de-risking and demonstrating that value.
Okay, continuing our gold focus, let's turn to Ontario. Onyx Gold Corp, symbol ONYX on the TSV, ONXGF on the OTCQX. They've released some encouraging new drill results from their Munro Creases project up in Timmins.
Yeah, the latest findings from their fully funded 10,000-meter drill program include some wide, high-grade gold intercepts at the Argus North zone. We're talking notable intersections like 91.0 meters grading 1.8 grams per ton gold.
91 meters, that's wide.
It's very wide. And it contained a higher grade core, 32.0 meters grading 4.0 grams per ton gold, and even 17.0 renders grading 5.3 grams per ton.
Okay, good grade within the width.
Exactly. Another impressive result was 59.7 meters grading 2.5 grams per ton gold, including 18.7 meters grading 5.2 grams per ton.
Again, wide intercepts, strong grades, that's the combination you look for.
Precisely. It's exactly what you want to see in a developing gold discovery.
So wide and high grade. What does that signal for the overall size and maybe the long-term potential of this discovery at Argus North? How big could the system actually get?
Well, the Argus North zone has now shown continuity over 100 vertical meters.
Okay.
And significantly, it remains open in all directions.
Oh, that's key. Open?
Absolutely critical. It suggests the discovery isn't constrained yet. It could keep expanding. The president and CEO, Brock Coulterjohn, summed it up pretty well. He said, "Every hole is adding valuable insight into the scale and geometry of the system. With only half of our fully funded Phase 1 program complete and the zone still open in all directions, we're just beginning to tap into the potential at Argus."
So lots more drilling to come.
It seems so. The potential for a substantial high-grade system is clearly there. The ongoing drilling will be key to defining just how large it can become.
It certainly sounds like they might just be scratching the surface there. What are the key factors that will influence the long-term viability and growth of a project like Munro Creases, beyond just these exciting drill results?
Well, beyond continuing to drill and delineate the resource, which is paramount for defining the total ounces.
Right. Gotta know what you have.
Exactly. Gold price fluctuations will always play a significant role in the economics of any gold project. That's just the reality. However, the consistent high grade and, importantly, those wide intercepts they're reporting here provide a strong buffer against price volatility. makes the project potentially more resilient to market shifts.
Good point. Okay, finally, let's travel north to the Yukon. Sitka Gold Corp, trading as SIG on the TSXV, SITKF on the OTCQB, and 1RF on the FSE, they've delivered some very promising results from their RC Gold project.
Yes, the very first hole of their 2025 drill program yielded a significant intercept. 211.2 meters, grading 1.13 grams per ton gold.
211 meters, another wide one.
Very wide, and it included a higher grade section within that, 73.2 meters, grading 2.05 grams per ton gold.
Okay.
Critically, visible gold was observed throughout that drill hole.
Visible gold, always exciting to see.
It is, and what's perhaps even more compelling is that visible gold has now been seen across all 4 active target zones they're currently drilling.
All 4 zones, Blackjack, Saddle, Eiger, and Roscoe-Bell.
Those are the ones, yeah. This widespread visible gold is a really strong geological indicator. Suggests a robust, extensive mineralized system.
Right.
And remember, the project already boasts pit-constrained resources totaling over 2.7 million ounces of gold.
2.7 million ounces already defined.
Across indicated and inferred categories, yes. And their current 30,000-meter drill campaign is fully funded, with about 20,000 meters still planned.
So a big program underway on top of an existing large resource.
Exactly. Shows a strong commitment to expanding this resource further.
Visible gold popping up everywhere across multiple zones, a multi-million ounce resource already established. That's a powerful combination. What's the key takeaway here? What does it suggest about the overall potential of RC Gold?
Well, the CEO, Corco, stated, visible gold across all our key targets this season is a strong indication of the system's scale. He also highlighted the drilling at Roscoe-Bell as particularly exciting, saying it could lead to another significant gold discovery within the project footprint.
Another discovery on top of what they have.
That's the potential. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Sitka's systematic approach expanding known deposits while aggressively exploring new targets suggests strong potential for a truly large-scale, maybe even district-scale, gold system in the region. The consistency of these long mineralized intercepts across multiple targets is a key indicator they might be tapping into something very significant.
That's incredibly promising, sounds like. What are the sort of remaining hurdles or considerations for Sitka as they keep delineating and developing this potentially large system?
Well, the primary focus, obviously, continues to be more drilling, to fully delineate the deposit boundaries, expand the known resource further.
Right, define the edges.
Exactly. Beyond that, looking further ahead, for any eventual development of a project of this potential scale, future permitting will be key. And of course, continued engagement with local communities and First Nations. That's absolutely vital in the Yukon as elsewhere. But the geological signs so far are certainly pointing towards something substantial.
We've certainly covered a lot of ground today. From that biotech capital raise, backed by some really compelling clinical results and a smart royalty deal, to HIVE Digital, balancing crypto mining with the surging demand for AI compute, and then several really significant gold and copper discoveries across Canada, from BC to Nova Scotia to Ontario and the Yukon. This deep dive into today's breaking news really offers a snapshot of where the real action is happening in the small cap market, highlighting innovation and that resource potential.
Absolutely. And I think today's headlines really show that even amidst all the market complexities, the broader economic noise, fundamental results like compelling financial reports, impressive drilling intercepts, they continue to be the bedrock of potential value. It really raises an important question for you, our listener. In a world just inundated with information, how do you determine which headlines truly warrant your deepest dive, your further research, and which ones are maybe just, well, noise?
Exactly. A crucial question. We hope these insights serve as a springboard for your own further research and understanding of these developments. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the markets.